This was in 1991. The second was a book called Enjoy Your Symptom, Jacques Lacan in Hollywood and Out, are his most accessible and least political works. Marx and Marxism, for example, do not figure prominently in either of these two volumes. And Zizek's facility to elucidate the notoriously impenetrable prose of Lacan through mainstream Hollywood film and genre fiction located him squarely with the postmodernists of the time. Again, if you want to get a sense and understanding of Lacan, if you want to understand Zizek, have a look at these two early books, Looking Awry and Enjoy Your Symptom. They're much more accessible, they're much more easy to read, they're great fun, all right? They're really, I mean, Looking Awry is one of his most stylish and best books, I think. And certainly much more accessible than his later ones. And you sort of read these, and he uses, you know, popular, he writes on The Matrix, he writes all kinds of Hitchcock, film noir, all kinds of things, all right, to explain Lacanian theory. The effortless shift from high theory to low culture, and his undoubted love affair with North American popular culture, has been crucial for Zizek's popularity. In his style, at least, Zizek seemed to be a postmodernist. And I'll come back to the question of Zizek's style at the end of this presentation. The second, and I think politically more significant factor relating to Zizek's reception in the UK and the US was the ideological filter of post-Marxism. The Sublime Object of Ideology in 1989, the first work of Zizek to be translated into English, was published in Ernesto Laclau and Chantal Mouffe's series Phronesis, which, as its opening statement makes clear, is committed to anti-essentialism, post-structuralist theory, and a new vision for the left conceived in terms of a radical and plural democracy. Ernesto Laclau and Chantal Mouffe wrote a book in 1985 called Hegemony and Socialist Strategy. This book was crucial for the development of what we now know in the sort of UK and the US as post-Marxism. All right? Again, Mouffe and Laclau were structural Marxists. They were Althusserians who sort of worked their way through this, came out the other side, and were anti-Marxist by the time the Hegemony book came out. Zizek's work was very closely associated with this politics of radical democracy, anti-essentialism, new social movements. Okay? And I want to tease out the relationship between them a bit in this paper, because Laclau and Zizek were long-time collaborators and friends, worked together quite a lot, and now certainly in print are very, very bitter enemies. A couple of years ago, 2004, they published a collaborative book called Contingency, Hegemony, Universality, where Slavoj Zizek, Ernesto Laclau, and Judith Butler, the queer theorist from the States, had a sort of dialogue in print. And this dialogue in print ended up extremely acrimoniously. You know, by the final, they started with a series of questions that they each asked each other and responded to. And by about page 350 of this book, you have Laclau and Zizek really just tearing each other apart, all right, in print. And I don't think they get on that well anymore. But the early connection with Laclau and Mouffe's post-Marxism was essential for the popularity of Zizek. In a sense, Zizek's work could not have been translated at a more opportune moment. In Eastern Europe, the historic collapse of actually existing socialism and the breakup of the Soviet Union was gathering apace. While in Western Europe, the final demise of Western Marxism seemed assured, if not already complete. The intellectual currents of postmodernism and post-Marxism were at their most vitriolic and triumphalist during this period. From the sublime object to looking awry, Zizek, the former dissident under socialism, who also knew American popular culture better than most Americans, encapsulated the moment. It is hardly surprising, therefore, to see Zizek so unequivocally co-opted to the banner of post-Marxism as in Lacau's preface to the sublime object. Now again, Zizek did much to encourage this view in interviews. As in his 1990 interview for Radical Philosophy, which took place on the eve of Slovenia declaring itself the first independent republic from the Yugoslav Federation, Zizek discussed his position within the newly formed Slovenian Liberal Party. Zizek has also always been a political activist. He actually stood for the presidency of Slovenia at one point in 1990. And he came very close to being elected president. One of the crucial things resulting in this, I saw this interview take place. There was, you have these televised debates between the candidates these days, just before the election. They're all sat around a table, there's a debate, you're asked certain questions. The main candidate who was going to win the presidency was sort of getting a bit worried about Slavoj Zizek and how popular he was becoming. So during this debate, he started to sort of say, well, look, we all know how intelligent you are, Slavoj. You're much more intelligent than all the rest of us, but this is politics, kind of thing. And after that, Slavoj Zizek's ratings went sky high, and he came very, very close to becoming elected president. Now, with respect to this political activity, Zizek would say, in contrast to the neoliberalism dominant in the rest of Europe, what we know in Britain or the States, for example, the Liberal Party in Slovenia formed part of the opposition bloc and was closely aligned to the new social movements, in particular to the feminist and ecological movements. What was distinctive about the Liberals was their opposition to populist nationalism. And again, maybe this is something we can pick up later in the discussion. One of the crucial issues in the breakup of the former Yugoslavia was the rise of neo-nationalism. Now, Zizek himself has written very interestingly about this, and he's used the Lacanian concept of the thing and the object A to analyze this notion of nationalism. Zizek himself opposes nationalism, but at the same time, he was part of a liberal party who increasingly themselves became nationalists. Okay? Maybe in the discussion afterwards we can talk a bit more about this. I've written on this in relation to Zizek and Slovenian politics myself. What was distinctive about the Liberals then was their opposition to populist nationalism, a political tendency that united all other major political groups, from the Reformed Communists to the Greens and to the far right. With their ideology of pluralism, ecology, and the protection of minority rights, the Liberals saw themselves as drawing on a tradition of radical democratic liberalism. There is, however, one key area in which Zizek was in tune with the neoliberalism of the times. Despite defining himself as a Marxist and locating the Liberal Party in opposition to free market economics, he observes that with regard to economic restructuring, he is a pragmatist. If it works, why not try a dose of it? I'll come back to this again in a moment. As you can see then, from the very beginning, Zizek was declaring himself, even though he was taken up by this movement of post-Marxism and this movement of radical democracy, he was from the beginning declaring himself a Marxist. Now again, I find this rather interesting with respect to his popularity. Marxism